Well, g'day Dragons fans and welcome to the Mad Dragons Vodcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, a family-owned and operated business with more than 100 years of combined experience. Jeff and his team are more than pleased to assist you in your Sydney warehouse refurbishment or fit-out project. Based in Commerce Drive in Lake Illawarra, get in touch with the team on 02 4257 1930.
Just sit right back and hear it tell the tale of a vodcast crew who gather around their mighty drink to give their point of view. As man is the panel fire, he shows that he has fun, and Donny, our host, will jump along, guiding us through the storm, guiding us through the storm. Big teams are rocky, keeps us true, he often gets his say. And just alive, he knows the girls and everything dragons win. And everything dragons win. The Mad Dragon Vodcast is a journey unforeseen. With Tasman and Donny to the moon. And makes me tea and cocoa. Just the start. Mazza and the other crew. Here on the Mad Dragon Vodcast.
Well, that happened. So that was an absolutely diabolical performance from the Dragons. To say it was unexpected is to say the absolute least. I think most of us went into this game expecting a much better performance than what was dished up by the Dragons today. 38-0, a scoreline that for any old St George Dragons fans out there, it just heaps pain. I don't think it's a scoreline that we like to see. I don't think it's a scoreline any team likes to see, to be honest. But, yeah, that's happened. It's been a horrible, horrible day, and we've still got to get through a show and take you through all the moments of the match and what's going on and how we fix it and our opinions on it. But to take us through all the villains, I'm sure there's plenty of villains. I'm interested to see what Hasman's hero is going to be, though. So let's get into this.
Well, there's the Dragons we all love to talk about. The heroics of last week well and truly forgotten, as the Dolphins did to the Dragons exactly what we did to the Titans last week. An utterly dismal performance in most respects, making picking a 3-2-1 incredibly difficult, let alone finding anyone worthy of the word hero. But as they say, the show must go on, and Zach Lomax gets it this week purely for the effort he's put in to what, as I said, was a pretty dismal turnout for the Dragons. Special mention to any Dragons fans who actually stayed at the ground long enough to hear the full-time siren after 80 minutes of that shit. Now, this may be my last ever appearance on the Mad Dragons Vodcast, so if that's the case, the final villain had the absolute reverse Midas touch with some absolute brain fade in defense and very little in attack. I am talking, of course, about big Michaeli Ravalawa, who proved beyond a reasonable doubt that bigger isn't always better. Special mention must go to the captain of the Mad Dragons Vodcast, Donny Bell, for making us do a 3-2-1 after that shit, constituting cruel but not unusual punishment. So for what may be the last time, back to you, Donny.
No. You can't.
No, you're fucking fired. Nah. I'm not copping that. Nah. I agree, Hasman. I mean, having to do 3-2-1s after that performance is cruel and unusual punishment, and I apologise, but that's part of what the Mad Dragons Vodcast is. Win, lose, or draw.
We're here.
And lose, we did. Lose horribly. It doesn't matter if you get beat by 100, we still have to find some 3-2-1. But let's introduce you to the panel tonight. So this is our panel. We've heard from Asman, and we've got the Mad Dragon. We've got Jag down there in the bottom left corner, and of course we've also got Big T. Big T, I might
welcome.
Well, I mean, take us through your thoughts on that performance, mate.
Oh my God, that was a diabolical. We couldn't get anything right. Nothing we done, nothing we worked on turned out. Too many errors. 12 errors, 28 missed tackles. Defense was terrible. Look, there were some spots there they were going through. They were making a line break untouched. So, I thought very poor tonight, very poor.
Yeah, getting a few comments come through. Greg Fagan saying, we did it the Dragons way. Jesse, I think you said at one point that it did look a bit like the Dragons of old, the Dragons of last year and the year before, and it didn't look like a Dragons team where too much had changed, unlike last week. I mean, what went wrong?
Oh, everything. It doesn't look like they jumped off the plane, to be honest. The guys didn't look like they were ready for a Dolphins rampage. The Dolphins just come out for the physical game. They ran us roughshod. They come out with all the intensity and speed, and they really wanted to get on the front foot early, and that's what they did. And they really tied out our forwards with that fast physical play they brought, and it really tied out our forwards, and that's why we didn't see a lot of our forwards run. Actually, none of our forwards really ran at all. It was all our backs taking up the yardage, and we had trouble getting out of our end all night, and that was where we went wrong. And when we did get down there, very limited chances, we did nothing in attack to threaten their line to get a 4-pointer. So, everyone's forgotten about last week very quickly, and we're back to square one.
Yeah, Rob, a comment from Brendan Daly, the Bennett ambush. I should have known the Dolphins were going to respond quickly with a coach like Wayne Bennett. Was there some writing on the wall? Was there some feeling in the pit of your stomach that this was something that was possible after last week?
Oh, potentially for sure. In the sense of, I thought we were an improved team from last season. The Titans obviously had some crucial spine plays out, for Fafita out as well too. So, to be fair, their attack, especially in the halves, was pretty much reserve grade like, and I believe they had that the half is really a hooker, not a halfback. But putting last week's game aside, the thing that I really feel is a problem for us is, for so many years now, we seem to pick up players from other clubs that are unwanted. That whatever reason, the other clubs don't want that player anymore, and we seem to pick these players up. We've added them to our squad. The same thing Hook did, Flano's done. So I question really, are we really, really generally improving, or do we still have the same squad? We've added some new players, or some of these players unwanted by other clubs. And do we really, really generally need to clean out come 2025? Obviously, there's a fair few off contract, and make some hard calls. Maybe some senior players, we get rid of them and we just start again. Because after watching today, 38-0 is 38-0. That's a huge score against us. So, I just don't know how we can come back from this, to be honest with you. I just don't know if we've got the squad. I think we've still got a lot of Hook squad, and I really don't know if they're that good, to be honest with you. Are we really just a bottom four team that might trouble some teams, but we're still a bottom four team at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think I've copped a little bit of criticism for saying that pretty much all off season, that we're still exactly the same squad that Hook put together. Now, I think a couple of the players that we added late to the squad make a bit of difference in terms of adding some depth there. But I do tend to agree with you, Rob, that we're still getting players. I mean, even those players that we got late are still blokes that were unwanted elsewhere. That they weren't wanted at their current clubs. We've got Raymond Fatala Mariner, who was great last week. This week, not so much. But you sort of look at where he came from. He was the Bulldogs' captain at the start of last year, and they wanted to get rid of him. So they made him their captain at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year, they wanted him out of the club. They didn't want him anywhere near the joint. They didn't want him to have to return to training, and he basically wanted to stick around at the Bulldogs and still wanted to be part of the squad. But they wanted rid of him. The Bulldogs wanted him gone, and we picked him up. He's a halfway decent player, but he's not a guy that's going to change your fortunes overnight. So even a guy like that who is probably fairly positive in terms of the influence he's had on the overall squad, the depth of the squad, I still think there's a lot of negatives there. All right, we'll move into the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting, which nobody wanted to do. Let's not beat around the bush. Nobody wanted to do this. Nobody wanted to give their 3-2-1s. But the man that got the man of the match, according to the panel, with 17 votes, was Zach Lomax. I might skip Hasman because he's already given him the hero. I'll go to you, Big T. Zach Lomax, you gave him man of the match.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
He played well this week like he played last week. I gave him 2 points last week, and Sloan the 3 points last week, but I switched him around this week. 185 metres, run metres, 81 post context, 5 tackle breaks, and an offload. I think he was our best player, best runner. They 185. We've got to say good for that. So yeah, that's what he got for me.
Fair enough. All right. Well, the man with the second most votes and was Tyrell Sloan, and Sloan got 10 votes from the panel. I'll go to you, Jesse. You gave Sloan the 3 votes. Why did you think Sloan was our best? You're on mute, mate.
Oh.
Even the best do it, mate.
Gotcha. I got done last week.
Yeah, I thought he ripped in. He was the one looking most likely to score. He tried creating stuffing out of nothing, even when the team wasn't going well. Even that try he put on for Rava, that Rava should have been there. He even sprayed him too. He it goes to show that he was trying things and trying to get the team going. He tried his heart out, and then he was unlucky not to score too when he did that chip over the top. I think it just kicked it a little too early, and then Hammer got it. Hammer was able to bat it dead, and he was the one looking more likely to break the Dolphins' defense. And yeah, it was a great performance from him, and yeah, I was really impressed with the way he tried hard and fought, even though we were on the wrong end of the scoreboard.
Yeah, for me, Sloan was the man of the match by the length of the straight. I don't understand why Lomax ended up man of the match. Lomax worked hard right up the other end of the field. He did a lot of work. He busted his ass. But the only time we ever looked like doing anything, it was Tyrell Sloan that did it. Only time we ever looked like scoring a try, only time we ever looked like making a break, it was Tyrell Sloan that did it. The only good things, the only good moments in this entire match, it was fucking diabolical. The only good things that happened because of Tyrell Sloan. Tyrell Sloan was the man of the match for me by the length of the straight. It wasn't close. Zach Lomax got my 2 because he tried hard and worked hard and did a lot of the tough stuff, but he didn't look like creating anything. Tyrell Sloan, for me, was the only one that looked like doing anything and changing the course of this game. Everyone else was going through the motions. Big T, I don't know whether you just chucked your hand up there because you wanted to jump in?
No, I'm just looking at Lisa Marie Cooper put a comment up saying Rava's on the wrong side, and he's got to be on this right hand side. He's not a left hand winger, so So I agree with Lisa Marie there, saying he should be on the wing. Should be on the other wing. Sorry.
Right. The last one on the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year stuff is third in the voting with just 4 votes, but Moses Sully. Rob, you found a vote for Sully. Tell us why he deserved 1 vote.
Purely and simply that he kept on running the ball up as he has been in the trials and in round 1 with authority and hard, and he just didn't. He didn't sort of go in half-hearted, so that's why I definitely gave him a vote, because I thought that he still kept his levels up, from last week. In a side that got flogged, obviously. So, so I thought there was some merit in that.
Yeah, I had Sully as well as my number 1, and he ran 169 metres, 69 post contact, so he done his job, but we just couldn't get over the line today.
Yeah, Hasman, you should chuck something in the group chat that I don't understand, but you said something about a comment that's on the page there. What one are you talking about there?
Yeah, Callum Smith piped up with something that I thought might be a nice little ego stroke for me. It's the one from 844.
Jesus, there's quite a few comments in there. We're scrolling through, trying to.
Read it out, man.
What did he say? Oh, Hasman testify. Is it that the one you're talking about? I found it.
That's the one.
Ah, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, there's always a bit of fire after a loss, especially a bloody heavy one like that. So, hopefully it won't need to do too many more of those.
All right. Well, now we know Hasman likes the smell of his own farts.
Looks like Hasman have testes.
we'll move on, and
we'll laugh after that.
We'll talk a little bit about some moments of the match, and I'll go to the first try for the Dolphins, and I'll go to you, Hasman. Up until that first try that the Dolphins scored, and I know it was fairly early in the piece, it was about 5 minutes in, but the opening 5 minutes, the Dragons looked a better team. We looked a far better team. We looked like we were right on top. The Dolphins scored a try against the run of play. I've got to say, me personally, that try happened. It was completely against the run of play. I wasn't worried at that point at all. Were you?
Not particularly. I mean, you see trials like that, happen all the time. We went to the break, 10-0 down. We didn't actually do that much wrong, I thought. Again, they scored their second try off a kick. It's one reason I gave Ravalawa a bit of shit, because that's pretty much his fault. No, I wasn't particularly worried. I was like, yeah, okay, let him get the first one, and we'll get the next 7. Of course, that didn't.
Well, I definitely felt the same. I kind of felt like, they got that try. It's it's completely against the way the game is going. We're still on top. We're still the better team. We're still playing the better footy. But Big T, from that moment, the Dolphins scored. We were never on top again in the next 75 minutes. There was no point in the game where it felt like we were a chance. What happened? What changed?
I think they were just winning up the middle. They dominated our forwards. They were just too good for us going forward. I don't know what the stat is for meters gained, but they were just running hard. They had us bend backwards most of the time. So our defence just didn't hold this week.
Yeah, Greg Allen Little saying he actually thought the first 5 minutes was pretty even, and then 75 minutes of pain. That's probably fair. I don't know that we certainly weren't dominating. We hadn't put any points on in that first 5 minutes, but it felt like we were going forward. It felt like we were getting through our sets a little bit better than they were. We were up in their face. It just it felt like everything was going according to plan, and then all of a sudden they score that try, and the game completely changes. The Dolphins scored another try not too long after. Jermaine Azarko scores to put them 10-0 up, but then they lose Jaden Nicarima. They lost their 6. Not too long after that, they lost their 9. Jesse, I mean, given they'd lost 2 of their spine players, did you think this was something we were going to be able to take advantage of?
Yeah, I thought they would, because they brought on it was Kurt Donahue. He hasn't had a lot of experience playing in the halves, and then obviously Isaiah Katoa there. So yeah, I thought they would lose a little bit of experience there and struggle to run on with the game, but yeah, our guys just never really got going. We never really took advantage of that. We never did anything outside of the box to break them open. It just never got better at any stage during the game. And at 10-0, I thought we were still in the game, but we had to be next to score. And by the time they got their players back, they were fresh again, and we just never really took advantage of it, or really made them pay for losing those key players, because we were just pathetic in all areas tonight.
Yeah, Rob, we've got a comment on the screen there from Kurt Kerrigan. Wants to know our thoughts on the Falcon from Jeremy Marshall King. It was an all-time great Falcon. What were you talk us through it? Talk us through the Falcon for JMK.
Well, it was incredible because I mean, we're one of the best ever seen. Laugh at it, and obviously people would, but even Ben Hunt was concerned for him because he hit him so hard in the side of the head. He went to obviously collapse, and Ben Hunt, in the goodness of his heart, held him up, which is a good thing. But getting back to what you were saying before, I think the big concern for me was the attitude. You indicated, Jesse, 10-0 was an opportunity, definitely. You see Nicarima go off. You see Marshall King go off as well too. It was really a fantastic opportunity to get back into the match. A lot of playing ball. I mean, even against the Titans, we were at halftime, we're only 6-4 up, I think that's correct. So I was looking forward to a really big second half from us, But I know you're going to get to it, Donny. But the way they scored the tries from 5 or 10 metres out, it was almost like touch football against us on our goal line. I mean, that seriously is a massive concern. Moving forward, how easy it was for the Dolphins to score tries like that. It was. It's massive for us. If we turn up like this next week, even at Cobber at our home ground, we are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the future in the future. We'll get to that because it's pretty bleak for Dragons fans, I think, right now. But it has been talking about concussions. I mean, we saw Jeremy Marshall King go off. We saw Jaden Nicarima go off. We also saw Jacob Little got a couple of knocks. The first one, he looked dazed. He looked out of it. He looked out of it for quite a while, but never got called off for a HIA from that first one. Were you surprised by that?
I was. I thought he should have gone off after the first one, and he sure as hell should have gone off after the second one. But he didn't know what bloody planet he was on after the first one. So. Look, if you're going to bring him off, that's when you bring him off. I mean, admittedly, we've only got Conor Malison sort of go to hooker, so options aren't brilliant.
Sorry, Hansman,
yeah.
where was the independent doctor? Because the independent doctor called off Nicarima and called off Marshall. So where was the independent doctor there?
I
Must have missed it.
I have no idea where the bloody independent
He was
doctor
quick
was.
to take off the other
He
two.
should have been hooked as soon as he got hit in the head. He was dazed. He was completely shot.
Oh, he didn't know what planet he was on.
I was surprised he came back.
Yeah. What was the protocol there? Well,
Both of their
how did he
eyes.
pass?
Yeah, both of their eyes. Marshall King and little both eyes were just spinning to the back of their head. It was just they were gone. But they both came
Well, that's
back.
the same with the Nicarima one. He kept saying, "I don't want to go off," but the thing is, the players don't understand. They don't get the call. I'm all right. I'm all right. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, Jeremy Marshall King was definitely complaining about being called off as well. But when the independent doctor gets involved, you don't have a choice. And I think the question Rob asked is a valid one. Is that like Jacob Little should have been taken off? The independent doctor should have got involved. Should have realised that he copped a head knock. He was completely dazzled. Like he was out of it for quite some time, and he should have been taken off. If not by the Dragon staff, personally, I think the Dragon staff should have taken him off. They should have recognised that he copped a hit and should be taken off. So you can put it on the independent doctor if you like, but the Dragon staff have a duty of care to their players as well. And I thought it was pretty clear that Jacob Little wasn't 100% and they should have taken him off and had a look at him.
Isn't HIA in control of the NRL though? The club doesn't get a say on that?
The club can take any player off whenever they want for HIA. If the trainer goes out and says he's suffering head injury, concussion symptoms, that's a HIA. They still get the same concussion protocol test. So the NRL takes over if the club doctor goes out, they assess them and they say, "Nah, they're all good." Then the independent doctor can get involved. So then the NRL can get involved. But if the club trainer says that there's an issue, then it's exactly the same concussion protocol. They'll come off. They'll do the 10-minute test.
And there's guys out there Rob said it before, but there's guys out there that stay out there. And then the referee says, 5 minutes later, you got to go off. You got hit in the head. 5 minutes later.
Well, but that's exactly what happened with Jaden Nicarima. Jaden Nicarima, they slowed us down so that we got a penalty, and then the trainer was doing an assessment on the player. The referee was going to call play on, and then he said, is that a head injury assessment? And the trainer said, yeah, it is. Yeah, nah. I don't think it was at first. And then because the referee asked him, he said, yeah, it is. So keep time off and give our team time to recover. And then he's going, nah, he's all good. Yeah. Nah, after looking at him for 2 seconds longer, the trainer decided it was fine and then play on. We had one tackle, I think, and then the time stopped again because the independent doctor got involved and said he's got to go off. So it's a bullshit system. Like the trainers on the field know that the independent doctor's going to call them off anyway. So I don't know why they get a say at all, but they do. Anyway, moving on. I think Nath Batterfield's got a pretty good point. Too pissed to even think about the Dragons tonight, let alone talk about them. But yeah, always next week, and I suppose that's where we look forward to it, I guess. But do we look forward to next week, Jesse?
I don't really know. I'm still getting over this performance. I mean, all the talk was today, if the Dragons win today, they have a top-of-the-table clash against the Cowboys. They'll sell it out for sure. On tonight's display, they'll be lucky to get 10,000 there. And I don't really know where it comes from because we don't really have many players to bring through and make changes. But Flano really needs to fire a rocket up these guys during the week and tell them to pull their heads in, because I don't think Flano will take any of this crap. Very soon, if these guys keep performing like that, they'll be dumped to New South Wales Cup, no matter who they are. Like, not one forward made 100 metres. That was absolutely pathetic. All the Dolphins forwards made over 100 metres, except Jesse Bromwich. But even Kerr, we had him last year. He made 159 metres, and he didn't even play half a game. So, yeah, I just don't know why the forwards just didn't cut the ball up. All I saw running the ball up was Lomax or Bird or Sully, Ravalawa. No, not one forward ran with a vengeance tonight and tried to get assets going forward. It's a complete 360-degree turnaround to what happened last week.
Well, Rob, this one's probably a little bit of a crack at you. Maybe not directly, but Greg Little has popped up saying, you talked about the Dragons buying fringe first graders. He sort of points out Josh Kerr, Mark Nichols, Kurt Donahue, all borderline first graders, probably wouldn't make first grade at a lot of clubs. They came out and they outplayed all of our players today. Is it really a case of the Dragons not recruiting the right players? They're recruiting fringe first graders exactly the same as every other club, or is it a case of we can't get the best out of the players that we recruit?
I think it's a case of everything. I look at Bellamy, I look at Bennett, how they can get the average first grader up playing at a top level. Without a doubt, these coaches who are very, very successful and have that ability. I think we lack some big bopper ball players like a Fanua Blake, a Payne Haas. One player, maybe two, that gives us some momentum, some carry forward. I really don't think we've got that real standout of a player. But I get what obviously that gentleman's saying. But again, it comes down to, like what I said, the Bennett, the Bellamy, how they are able to get the best out of these players.
But isn't that why we got Flanagan? Flanagan is that bloke that can get the best out of players?
I don't know if Flanagan is that type of coach, to be honest with you, that can get the best
He's
out
a
of
premiership winner. He's done it before.
One premiership, and I'm a big fan of Flano, to be fair. I think he was the right man, still is the right man to hopefully get us back to finals footy. But I just don't think – I still think he's got Hook's squad and maybe even some of the squad before that, Mary McGregor. And until we do a decent clean out, and even including Ben Hunt in the future, Ben Hunt's 34 now, so you can't play forever. We'll need, maybe even half a dozen players, mate. I don't know where we're going to get them from. I don't know how we're going to get them. We have a problem, obviously, attracting those real top line players. We just gave $900,000 a season, give or take whatever money is being paid by the other club for Lalua. But I mean, I look at $900,000 a season for a Joey Manu or a player of that ilk, or a top player like that, not a Lalua. But it seems to be that's where we're at with the Dragons. It's a real hard task in front of us, to be honest with you, mate. We're gonna have to pull a big rabbit out of our hat in the next couple of years to truly compete in the top 8 before the top 8. Because again, I hark back to the defence tonight on the goal line was terrible. There was one try there, I think was almost like under 8s park footy. The guy almost went over untouched. And no offence to under 8s out there, they might have tried to tackle him. But I don't know. It's scary shit.
I guess Rob's raised that a couple of times. I've been waiting to get to it to move it on until we're at that point of the game. But I'll go to you, Hasman, because Rob has mentioned it a couple of times towards the back end of the game. Like we were still in the hunt. The Dolphins scored the first try of the second half, but we're still in the game at 16-0. The game is not over. There's plenty still to play for. But with 20, 25 minutes still to play, they just looked like they clocked off. They stopped trying. They stopped everything that we did last week. The fantastic goal line defence that we saw against the Gold Coast Titans last week disappeared. There was none of it. There was no resilience. There was no determination in defence. They just let them stroll straight through again and again and again. Is this a team that still has a weak mentality?
I think they are still a little bit mentally weak. The way that they played up to that point, when the Dolphins scored that third try, I had a very, very bad feeling, which the Dragons basically confirmed by letting in about another 12 more. There wasn't going to be any comeback. In fact, we'd be lucky to, get one try, which of course we didn't. The body language of the players it was nowhere near what it was last week. They had basically the third try that got scored. They gave up. It was that simple.
That's the Dragons, though. When things get tough, we drop our bundle.
Yeah, but that's the Dragons of the past, isn't it? Surely we've got Shane Flanagan now, the miracle maker, the bloke that's going to make us a fucking superstar team again. Are we still that bullshit team that gives up as soon as it gets hard? Is that still us, Jesse?
It looks like it. I just watched a bit of Flano's press conference. He's very, very disappointed, and he's threatening big changes next week. He said he's not promising it's going to be fixed next week. It's going to be hard to fix, but he's very, very disappointed.
Stopped an absolute bashing on the site. Unbelievable. You should see what they're saying about Kyle on the site.
Was he even there? I never saw him the whole
That's
night.
what they're saying. We're saying, where was a 5'8"? We didn't even have a 5'8" that played for us today. So,
he was doing everything.
But what a different a week makes. What a difference a week makes. I mean, last week, Kyle Flanagan, he was a guy, he straightened up our attack. He made us look better. He straight away made us look a better team. Big T, I know I said that as well. I thought Kyle Flanagan made a huge difference to our attack last week, and this week goes completely missing. This week we go back to exactly the same things we were doing last year. Everything, every single play goes through Ben Hunt.
Not
every single option Ben Hunt. Is it Ben Hunt or is it Kyle Flanagan? Where is the issue?
It's got to be Ben Hunt demanding the ball. He's got to be dominant over Jacob Little. And he's got to be demanding the ball off Little. Flanagan mustn't be saying anything because he didn't have a kick today. 0 kicks.
Probably because I don't know.
Ben Hunt, 18 kicks for 534 metres. But yeah, not a single kick, did he?
Can I raise something?
He was given Sewer and Sully early ball, but he didn't have nothing today.
Donnie, he was invisible. Yeah, go, Rob.
Sorry, mate. I'm interested to know. I mean, in all fairness of what we've watched in the last X amount of weeks, I mean, including trials as well too. I'll put this out there to everybody. In the last few weeks, were we truly playing bottom 4 teams? We possibly might be a bottom 4 team ourselves, maybe a little bit higher than that. I still see that we can trouble some teams. We're playing our best footy, but were we really, to be fair, playing against bottom 4 teams? And now we come up against...
Big T's got the Titans in last. I think a lot of people have the Tigers finishing last.
Down there.
So that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, I'm saying in all fairness...
But a lot of people have the Dolphins finishing in bottom 4 as well. Today was a bottom 4 team when we got beat 38-0, mate.
I know, but I'm just saying the teams that we've played in the last couple of weeks, obviously we've got excited, we've had wins, and are we coming back to reality now that really... The top 8's out of the question this season. It really is.
Was last week
today, I mean, Blind Freddie would probably tell you yes, but yeah, I mean, is this reality? Is this a big reality check for us that we really, we have to have a big clean out at some stage come 2025? Things, we just have to get rid of some of the players. Say bye-bye and get some new ones if we can attract them.
Well, I'll go to you, Hasman, with that. I mean, Rob's made a big statement. It's 1-1. Like, we all got really excited after one win last week, and this week all of a sudden we're a bottom 14 because we've had one loss. Are you writing us off? Is that it? Like, are you swinging that wildly? Like, you're going from we're a top 4 team. Maybe we can make the top 4. Maybe we're that good. Maybe we can compete with the best. To, in the space of 1 week, going from there to, we're never going to win again. We might never win another game. Is that how wildly you swung, or do you think that we're still there's still a possibility that we could turn this around and compete for a top 8 spot?
I said before the season even started, we're going to be somewhere between 10th and 14th, and from what I've seen the last 2 weeks, that's basically where we're going to be. We're going to beat some really shit teams, and some supposedly shit teams like the Dolphins are going to put a hurting on us. So I don't think there's any difference between what happened this week and what happened last week in terms of where we're going to finish. It's going to be exactly the same thing's going to happen. We are going to finish between 10th and 14th. What happened last week, what happened this week hasn't changed my thought process at all.
Yeah, I've obviously been a little bit more pessimistic than most. I've maintained that we're a bottom 14. I think we're still a bottom 14. I think we're fighting with those teams down in the bottom 4 for a place. We're fighting to try and avoid the spoon. That is our greatest aim this year, is to try and avoid the wooden spoon. And I don't think that's changed. I'm with Hasman. Hasman's a little bit more optimistic than I was. Darren Reed's chucked up 12th to 15th. I think that's probably a little bit more realistic. I think if we finish 10th, that would be fantastic. Shane Flanagan, he's come out and said that he thinks we're in a better position than the Sharks were when he took them over. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that maybe we're not quite as badly placed as I think. But I think there's there's still a road to tread for the Dragons. I think there's still a bit to go through. All right, we'll move into the next segment. So Mad Dragons Vodcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, as we move into some viewer questions. So there's a couple of comments that I've starred along the way, and I'll go to you with the first one, Big T, from Grant Rower. He doesn't structure it as a question, but Luciano Leilua, I saw some photos of him during the week. I saw him getting ready before the game. He doesn't look close to fit. He does not look like an elite athlete. Is this a big issue for the Dragons? Have we paid a lot of money for a bloke that's not willing to put in the work?
No, well, when he kicked up with us in 2016, so what's that? 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years, 8 years ago, 2016. Then he went away to, I think it was the Tigers first, didn't he? And then up to the Cowboys. But has he come back just to retire? He didn't look like doing much today. There was no offloads. There was limited offloads. There was limited meters for him. He does need to take a few pounds off. Maybe too many McDonald's on the way home from training. But yeah. Can I ask Jess to turn that volume down, please?
Yeah, I was going to say somebody's playing the vodcast in the background there, and you can just hear it on delay coming through.
Yeah, that was just putting me off a bit there. I didn't know where that was coming from. But yeah, no, Luch needs to work on his fitness for sure.
Yeah, I think that's it looked a big issue. Like, I mean, it's one of the big things I think for the Dragons, Jesse, is everyone sort of says how much everyone's trimmed down. Everyone looks incredibly fit. Everyone's been under Flano this entire off season, and they look ready. And then you look at Luciano Leilua, who's come in at the last minute. I don't know what he's been doing at the Cowboys, but he doesn't look like he's ready to play rugby league at all. He looks like he's ready to run out for the Thurl Butchers third grade. What impact does it have if we bring Luciano Leilua into the starting team who isn't ready, isn't physically ready, isn't fit enough? And these players that have put in all this work during the preseason, they get overlooked for this high-profile, highly paid, overpaid edge forward that hasn't put in the work. How does that impact the rest of the squad?
I reckon it's going to have a negative impact. I mean, he looks bigger than when he was here, 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, he didn't offer anything all night, nor like did any other forward, but Luciano didn't offer anything different that we didn't have last week. And I reckon to get him some fitness and work on his game and to get to where he needs to be, I think Flano should make the big call and dump him to New South Wales Cup. Get him some minutes there and train the house out of him. Flano's threatened big changes, so I don't know where he's going to make changes, in what department he will. But I think the boys really need a wake-up call to see where they're at. Not only Luciano Leilua, but the entire squad. Where, as I said, where Flano makes those changes, where he sees fit, where he can bring in a Couchman or some other outside backs. I don't know where he honestly makes changes, but for me, Leilua, I bring back Viliami Shafita for one, and give Leilua some weeks in New South Wales Cup to give him some minutes there.
All right. Well, before we go into a few more viewer questions, I want to crack my next beer, and I stupidly bought a special beer just for tonight. I thought we were going to have a good win, going to be celebrating. This was going to be in a good mood. I bought this beer today, Year of the Dragon. So Year of the Dragon, good luck and good fortune from Black Brewing Company. To be fair, I think it's going to be absolutely terrible. It is a kumquat and Szechuan pepper Chinese sour. So I don't think it's going to be good. So I think it's going to be right up there with...
No.
Where's your Kilkenny, Donny? Where's your Kilkenny?
with how the Dragons played. So let's see how this goes down.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's...
What you expected?
Yeah.
Where's your Kilkenny for St. Paddy's Day?
Well, I really, I don't know. It's the Dragons. It's the Year of the Dragon beer. So that's what I decided to go with today. Well, I would have pretended it was good if we had won, but all right, we move on now to another viewer question, and I'll go to you with this one, Rob. Greg Fagan says we need Jesse Marshke in the 14 rather than Mulhyson. Connor gives nothing in attack.
No.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't say Mulhyson gives nothing, but yeah, I mean, I guess he just doesn't give us a lot. But yeah, Marshke, I like what I saw in him. What I've seen him so far, should I say. So, I mean, we've got nothing to lose, Tony. Obviously, after today, maybe got to, according to Jesse, Flano's going to change some things up. So, yeah, why not throw him into the mix somehow? I don't know. Make him 14. Give us something. Maybe he can give us... He looked okay when he came on against Souths, to be honest with you. So, and Paul Bass was coming on in the second half when he was thrown in with players being changed left, right, and centre, but he seems to have that little bit of definitely in the halves, that little bit of ability. So I guess we've got nothing to lose and everything in the game, Donny. So I don't see it as but the big thing will be for Flano. Does he drop Flano Junior earlier than later in the picture? So
For who? For Markey?
yeah, or does he make him 14? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I think you said this last week. Did we need to carry an extra hooker on the bench at the end of the day? You know, after what we saw today. Although Little did get those knocks, I suppose, as well too. But,
Jacob Little almost getting knocked out twice.
yeah, so it's a really
we almost we did need the 9 really.
But I mean, at the end of the day, the Couchman boys. If we're looking to the future, is it now or never? Like Elvis's song. Do we start making these trades to bring them in?
I think that's a fair question, and we might get to that in a moment. But Big T, you very quickly, as soon as this question came up on the screen, said absolutely not. You were shaking your head straight away. I mean, you're a fan of Connor. You don't think Markey's got what it takes to make it at the top grade? Why were you so quick to say no?
Oh, well, I was quick to say no. I was thinking we need to have continuity. So Connor, 2 runs, 16 metres, 17 tackles, not a miss. Played for 15 minutes, whatever he played for. He didn't do anything wrong, but he didn't do much right. But I like Marshke. Like Rob said, I thought he was good in the Souths game, and he brought a bit of different spark to the game. But if he comes in at 6 and K-Flan moves to 14, or it doesn't matter. Ben Hunt runs the show anyway. They're not even going to touch the ball.
Yeah, and I think therein lies the biggest issue, that it doesn't really matter who we've got at 6 if Ben Hunt is doing absolutely everything. Yeah. You may as well have a potato at 6 for all the influence that they're going to have on the game.
Exactly.
Well, it won't change until we get rid of Ben Hunt, or he finishes up with St George. Will it really? It's not going to change.
Well,
I think.
I don't know. Hunt tries his ass off. He definitely tries to lift the team. He's not there not putting in effort. Like you look across the team, and I don't think Hunt was the one that wasn't putting in effort. I think there was quite a few that you might level that criticism at. But Hunt was definitely having a crack. But I agree with Rob. He takes too much. Like Kyle Flanagan, he showed last week that he's quite capable of taking some of that pressure off Ben Hunt. And today, none of that happened. It was all Ben Hunt. Everything went to Ben Hunt. All the pressure went to Ben Hunt. But still, every play went to Ben Hunt, and the Dolphins knew it.
Yeah.
Like nothing even looked like going to Kyle Flanagan. I don't know why.
Little was going to Ben Hunt all the time. He was really going to Ben Hunt all the time, mate. 100% correct. They even saw him looking that way. In other words, it wasn't even looking Flanagan's way. He was looking for Hunt all the time. So it's back to like last season, I suppose. The same thing. That's and it's predictable for the opposition, isn't it? It puts pressure on Ben Hunt because obviously they're going to know it's going to go to him 90% of the time. I thought that we got past this and that Flanagan was going to be there to take a bit of pressure off him, but it doesn't look that way
tonight.
Yeah, and Ben Hunt got flustered because he got smashed too, as well too. They're up on him pretty quick a lot of the time. Doesn't matter how good you are when you're under pressure like that.
And forced a couple of errors from him as well, and forced him to change where he was going.
There's a coach that knows Ben Hunt. It's Wayne Bennett.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. They were going hard on Ben Hunt. You could see him running up hard on him, even with his kicks as well too. They were, they were running up hard, and crashing into him and holding on to him. You know what I mean? But just as he was kicking it, so they knew the more pressure they put on Hunt, then the harder it was going to be for the Dragons to perform, to score points at least anyway. And again, we scored 0 points, so obviously that's telling you something.
Well, Hasman, another question we've got from Victor Contoni. He talks about our line speed being absolutely non-existent. Again, it was something that was a bit of a feature of our game last week, and this week, nothing. This week we sat back, waited for them to come to us, and they were able to create on the back of that. They were able to make a lot of meters. and control the entire speed of the game. And everything they did on attack came from the fact that we didn't have line speed. I mean, is this something you noticed? Is this something that you see as a big issue? What is the difference between this week and last week? Why is it so different?
Well, not to make bullshit excuses, but when I was keeping a bit of an eye on the 10 meters, and I just got this impression that our 10 meters was more like 15. Like
there's been a couple of comments say that as well.
Yeah, I'm
like
not sure
people that were at the game saying that the same sort of thing, that it was about 15 metres for us.
I don't know who that bloody referee is, but he can't count.
Fucking Chris Sutton.
Chris Sutton. It's a Sutton.
Sutton.
No, was Atkins was the referee, wasn't he?
Atkins, that's right. Yeah, it was.
Jerry was in the bunker. Yeah.
I did Jezza.
Anyway, all the rest, they're all shit.
I like Ziggy. He's a good referee.
I've always liked Ziggy. I've seen Ziggy coming through the ranks for quite a long time, and
we won with him last week.
Well, we did win with him last week.
That's why I like Ziggy.
Well, I've been watching him come through the ranks for quite some time, and I've always thought that he's a very, very good referee, and maybe got held back a little bit because of politics more than anything else. But in any case,
someone made an interesting point here, Donnie, on the Facebook. Do we need?
Well, there's 38 live comments that I've missed that I haven't had a chance to go back to. Go, Rob. I'm still on the starred comments at the moment, trying to get through these ones. But there's 38 comments on this.
To say that you look at a lot of teams out there with the Dragons. We've got some big and robust players. Obviously, some big guys, Rav and Sully and all that. But are we lacking some speed in our backline, with the exception of Tyrell Sloan being out and out speedster? Are we missing maybe one or two that we could have that are generally still good defensively, but out and out speedsters? You know what I mean? So it's not a bad point raised. That I'm looking at Jack.
I think it's been a regular point that has been raised, but I'll go to you with it, Big T. I mean, where do we lack speed? Do we need more speed in our backline? Where do we get it?
Some speed out.
And who do we take? Who do we take out to put speed in our backline?
Maybe bring Tamale in. Like he's got speed. He's got speed to burn.
So you're dumping Rava or you're dumping Lomax to bring Tamale in?
I don't know. Lomax was more man of the match. Like he got 3 or 2 points from me, but Rava's on the wrong side. I don't know who you're changing with.
You got Sione Finn out too.
But they're both speedsters. We do need speed out the back. Rava's not quick, but he's strong. Lomax is semi-quick, but he's slow.
He's not fast.
Our centers, one's fucking 42, and the other one's Sully does pretty well, but
he's not fast. No,
he's not fast. No, we've got no speed except for Sloan at the back. And today, Sloan showed what he can be if things come off for him.
Well, did the Dolphins show us that as well? I mean, they got speed to burn. They got speed everywhere, and they killed us with speed. It was speed that killed us.
Yeah, we opened up. My backline's quick.
Yeah.
You got Hammer, Herbie Farnworth, Jermaine Azarko.
Katoa's quick.
Bostock even looked good.
He's quick. Quicker than anyone we've got.
Avarillo always scores a try against the Dragons.
Yeah, last 3 times he scored 2.
I thought it was a good point. You look at the game today, Roosters versus Manly. You look at the back line, some of the speedsters in these teams. Are we lacking?
The Manly side is just
really
so
honestly. Yeah. So see how quick
Roosters side so quick.
Well, I think 100% we're lacking speed. We're definitely lacking speed, but I mean, you're not taking Lomax out of this team. You're not like.
No,
I know Ravaloa didn't have a great game, but he scored like 600 tries for us last year. You're not taking him out of the team. Moses Sully's probably been our best player so far this season. You're not taking him out of the team.
Jack Bird.
Jack Bird, I think there's definitely some question marks on him. I think we could definitely remove him, but I don't know. I don't know that there's anyone in our team you want anyone in our back line you want to get rid of. There's plenty of players in our forward pack that you're like, I could do without them.
You could get rid of the entire forward pack on their effort tonight.
100%. But we're talking about bringing speed in. You're not going to bring that in our forward pack. So if you want to bring speed in, who are you getting rid of? Who are you saying you're no good?
Well, Bird's not quick. He can't run.
110%. If I had an out speedster, Lomax could go back to the centre, and obviously that speedster could go on the wing or vice versa, centre, winger, or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying Jack Bird's poor, but he's not, to me, an out quality centre. No. He's just filling a gap. That's how I look at it.
Is it time for Flano to take a chance?
I think that's what Flano is trying to do, tighten the defence up with him, but he's not someone who's going to be a game breaker for us as well too and score tries for us. He's not certainly going to make a break and 30, 40-metre dash and score a try like what Sloane can.
Is it time for Flano to take a chance on Sione Finau and Savelio Tamale? I mean, he's threatened changes. Are changes needed? Do the guys think that their spot's too safe? Like the guys think, they've got to walk up starting first grade every week. We haven't had a coach for a long time that would say, you played shit, you're going to reserve grade. I really hope he does. He really needs to put his foot down and say, you're out. You're out the door.
Jack Bird. He loves Jack Bird. He's not going to drop Jack Bird. I think he likes Jack Bird more than he likes his own son.
Just like Hook likes Hunt.
Yeah, no, but he's got his own son in the side. How can you like someone over your own son? But no, I think he's got something in his head about Jack Bird, and Jack Bird is our centre. I don't know what's in his head, but at best, Jack Bird's forward.
I mean, talking about Sione Finau, Savelio Tamale, did you watch the reserve grade game on the weekend, Jesse?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it.
So how do you know that they're going any good? Like, I've seen 2 reserve grade games so far. I haven't seen Sione Finau touch the fucking ball. Like, he's done nothing in reserve grade in 2 games. I only saw the first half of the game last week. Maybe he did something in the second half. I'm not sure. But in 2 games, Sione Finau has done nothing at all. He's barely touched the ball. Savelio Tamale works hard and seems to get through a fair bit of work. He looks fairly strong, but I think Sione Finau, on what I've seen, seems to be one of those blokes that has not improved under Shane Flanagan at all. He looks like he's gone backwards.
What about the Finau brothers doing down there? What are they doing in reserve grade?
No, not the Finau twins. That'll be worse.
Well, I think Matt's actually going all right. Max looks lost. He just stays out. He stays out. He's out at right centre. He stays out there. If the ball goes to him, he'll run it and do nothing with it. Max looks done. He looks completely done as a professional rugby league player to me. Matt Finau actually looks like he's putting in. He's playing at fullback, which is a position that he's learning. He looks okay. He looks like he's still got something to offer. But, yeah, again, he doesn't have a lot of speed either. Like, he's not a guy that's lightning fast that's going to fix the problem that we've identified. The guys that can fix it aren't good enough, and the guys that can come in aren't fast enough. So I don't know.
I think it's 2025. We need to look at a speed. We need an out and out. Look, don't quote me on these players. I'm using an example. I know the guy's not going to come. But Joey Manu, we needed a Fanua Blake as a prop. You know what I mean? We needed a Tommy Dearden. We needed 3 players like that could come into our team in crucial positions, who will make a huge difference in those positions. With the go forward, with the quality in the back line. That's how I see it. I don't know how we attract those players. I don't know what we do, but I see across the park, we really need some top players to come in. Maybe even three top players to come into our team.
I said last year when Ben Hunt was wanting to leave, that they'd be surprised if we see Chad Townsend in the number 7 for the Dragons.
He's the same age as Hunt, though.
I know. I still believe that he will be a Dragon in 2025.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I think so. That's my opinion. Everyone's got
So,
an
so,
opinion.
so we're
So
gonna
we'll
have
drop Ben Hunt and have Chad Townsend for one season. And
So we'll
then
let
do
Ben
something.
Hunt go, in other words. Let him
He wants to
release.
go, mate. He wants
He wants to go to Queensland. Yeah, we know
Yeah.
that. So release him, and then Townsend
Release
will
him
come in.
and Townsend will come.
That frees up some cash.
It does free up some cash. But yeah.
but if we spend all that on a guy
still-
that's the same age, I don't think Chad Townsend.
He's not in the same class as Hunt.
I understand that Chad Townsend is the same age as Ben Hunt. But
He's not. He's the same age and nowhere near as good as Ben Hunt.
But still, he shares it around. He shares the love, like he's not just give me the ball, I'm doing everything. Let's I don't know. I still think he'll be a Dragon in 25.
Yeah, I think we need to look outside the box. I am because Chad Townsend's a perfect example, and I've said this a number of times on the show. You've got Chad Townsend, you've got Daly Cherry Evans, you've got Sean Johnson, you've got Ben Hunt. All of the best halfbacks in the game are 35. All of them are about to retire. We need to be looking. We need to be doing what the Raiders have done and bring in a guy like Ethan Strange, who looks like an absolute star. They've gone, you're next. You are the next generation. We are going to put you in the six. Go out there, do the job. And he's done the job. He's done the job the first 2 rounds of the season. He's looked like he belongs in first grade. The Roosters have done that a few years ago with Sam Walker. Yes, he's been in and out of the side, but now he's starting to look like a guy that belongs in the top grade. Right. So you need to be putting those things in place and putting some faith in some younger players for a genuine, like a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Dragons have shown any willingness to do that. We've had the young players and we've gone, oh no, they're not good enough. We've moved on very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And now where are we? Where are we? Yes, you had your hand up.
Yeah, Andrew Johns mentioned the other week. I mean, at the moment, the last few years we've had in the game, and COVID's stuffed that up. We don't have there's no star number 7 coming through. That's not really there at any club, really. Who's the next up and coming half? That's not just for our club. It's in the whole NRL.
Again, we've seen that a little bit over the last few weeks. A few young halves, even Lachlan Galvin looked all right, and badly beaten Tigers team. We're seeing a few young halves that are starting to get their opportunity here and are going okay. We've seen Ezra Mam in the last couple of years has sort of come into the squad for the Broncos and almost got a Clive Churchill medal. If the Broncos had won that game, he'd be a Clive Churchill medal winner. He's a young up-and-coming half. Tom Dearden at the Cowboys, and I know that one hurts Rob's feelings because he really wanted to get Tom Dearden at the Dragons, but it didn't work out, and we did have a crack at him. So there are some young halves out there, and there's a number of young halves that aren't getting an opportunity at other clubs that the Dragons should 100% be looking at. Like they shouldn't be looking to replace Ben Hunt with Chad Townsend. They shouldn't be looking to replace Ben Hunt with a guy that's the same age as Ben Hunt. It doesn't fix the problem. We should be looking outside the box. Well, I mean, there's not a lot in England either, though. Like, there's a dearth of halfbacks in England as well. I know a lot of people will say, oh, Jai Field. But Jai Field's been in Australia. He's tried. He was not good enough. Yes, he goes very well. He goes very, very well over in England in that competition week in, week out. But that's not the NRL.
Well, I've got a question for you with that. You look at Manly, how they were smart, and they got Luke Brooks. You struggle with West Tigers on that. Luke Brooks goes to Manly, right? Cherry Evans isn't going to go to forever like Ben Hunt, same age, whatever, he's 34, 35. So, within a year or two, Luke Brooks, I assume, is going to take over the mantle a bit. Isn't there Cogger that's at Newcastle? Don't Newcastle have 3 or 4 halves that are competing for 2 positions?
He just joined Newcastle, Cogger.
Yeah. No, he just joined, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about players like that. You know what I mean? That are good players. Well, that's a smart move by Manly getting Brooks in to Manly.
He's not
Because I
exactly
assume
young
he's
either.
going to take Cherry Evans. And that's what I was saying,
Yeah.
what you were saying, Donnie, about Tommy Dearden. Pay him the extra money so he can come in and play with Ben Hunt now.
Let
And then
his
he can
craft.
take
We
it
could have
for
paid. We
2
could have paid
months.
Tom Dearden $10 million a year. He wasn't coming to the
I know he's
Dragons.
not going to.
He was not
He
leaving
loves it
his
in
club.
Townsville.
Couldn't
He
we
loves it
give
in
him a
Townsville.
couple of Peter Douse houses, on the Illawarra or something, waterfronts or whatever? Isn't that what the Roosters bloody bloke does? Third-party
Well,
deals,
that's-
brown paper bags.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered what we offered Tom Dearden. He wasn't
He's not
coming.
going to. He wasn't going to come.
So I think we need to move on from that one.
Attracting players.
But yeah, I mean, Jesse makes the point that Luke Brooks. I mean, it was a big risk for Manly signing him because Luke Brooks is 29 himself. Like he's not a spring chicken. He's been around for a fair while. Like
Been around for 10 years, yeah.
yeah, so he's been struggling. He's been much vaunted and going to be this and going to be that, and he's never actually produced for the Tigers on a consistent basis. He goes to Manly and he's got that experience around him, and he looks okay. But again, I think a big question happens down the track. What happens when Daly Cherry Evans decides that he's gonna retire, and Luke Brooks takes over the mantle? Do Manly very quickly become the Tigers? So
I thought
without Daly Cherry Evans next to him, does he continue to be a good player, or does he go back to being Luke Brooks?
Well, they have Turbo with him as well, but he'll probably go to halfback, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, again, it's a question for the future, but right now Manly look pretty good. I've been trying to get to this question for about 1,000 years. I don't know whether Hasman's just dropped off. He might have just given up. Oh, he said be right backs, but he's back. There he is. Hasman.
He's throwing darts
No,
at Peter Douse.
Well, do the question, then I'll do what I've got to do.
He said, bring back Jackson Ford.
Now we go back to the question. So this one from CJ Floyd. We've got 62 live questions in there, and I've been waiting to get this one up before I've even looked at them. But this has been something that a few people have said. But CJ Floyd says Blake Laurie didn't make the impact that we would have needed, and thought that Viliami Fafita might have made a bit more impact than Blake Laurie. Would have you preferred Laurie take another week, or were you happy to see Blocker back? And what are your thoughts on Viliami Fafita coming back into the team?
Well, I mean, in hindsight, and hindsight's 2020, I would have actually preferred Fafita in that game. He could have done a lot more damage than what Laurie did. I'm still not convinced that he's 100%. I honestly don't think he is, and I think Fafita would have had a much bigger impact. I mean, defensively may not have been as good, but in attack it would have given us a lot. I think so. I think Flano's brought Laurie back a week early.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I think Blake Laurie for me was probably our best forward. Jack DeBellum was okay. He was certainly pretty decent defensively, but Tom Eisenhuth did some good stuff defensively as well. But Blake Laurie had more meters than any other forward in our forward pack. He came off the bench. He only played 44 minutes and ran what was it, 92 meters? I think Big T was saying. And so he was the closest to getting to 100 meters in the entire team.
I think also
played 44
there
minutes.
too, Donnie. I witnessed him on the sideline when he was having a spell, and he threw a water bottle on the ground. He was absolutely disgusted in what was happening to our team. So, I mean, to be fair to the guy, he's definitely bleeds red and white, this boy. So A for effort, like Lomax and obviously Sloan as well too. But yeah, he never stopped trying. And I can't remember who raised the point before. It might have been Hasman said that they gave up when it was 16-0 or whatever it was. The bunch of a whole lot of them just gave up, absolutely gave up. But yeah, to me, Laurie's not that player. He'll just keep trying all the way through. You know what I mean? That's how I saw Laurie in the game. He didn't stop trying.
Yeah, but that's Blocker in a nutshell. I think people thinking that Blocker's going to come on and have an impact. Have you ever watched Blake Laurie play? He's not an impact player. He's a guy that comes on and he gets through his work. He's a workhorse. He'll take 2 carries a set. He doesn't care. He'll run 3 decoy runs and not get any stat for it. Like he will work for the team 100% of the time while he's out on the field. So I don't think he's I don't think he's an impact player. I think Viliami Fafita's definitely an impact player. I think it's a different type of player. I think Viliami certainly would have had some impact in the game. He's a big body. But I don't think Blake Laurie's the bloke I would have been replacing to bring Villy in. Maybe replace a Connor Mollison or one of the edge forwards. Maybe replace a Luciano Leilua who's clearly unfit. I think there's a few guys that I would leave out before I'd leave Blake Laurie out. I thought Blake Laurie was one of our best forwards today. Comment from John Muller, Big T. Is this one of the reasons why you think Townsend might be coming back to coming to the Dragons, or coming back? He's never been here, but coming to the Dragons is because of his relationship with Shane Flanagan. Is that part of your reasoning?
Yes, for sure. When he was out, it was what was it? 8 years ago they won the comp down in Cronulla. But
2016.
Yeah, Jack Bird in the centres and he had Chad Townsend in the halves. I think he'd be a great fit for the Dragons if Ben Hunt is that selfish. Like something's got to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Mad Dragons Vodcast brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. We might move in now, maybe to something that's a little bit more positive. And I don't have anything written down or prepared for this, so I'm just going to quickly click through some of the results on the New South Wales Rugby League website, and I'll start with the New South Wales Cup. The New South Wales Cup side obviously got hammered last week, and a lot of people talking about our lack of depth and how much we were going to struggle because we couldn't compete with North Sydney at all. So North Sydney Bears are a Melbourne Storm feeder club, so a lot of Melbourne Storm players in their team. But this weekend we took on the Newcastle Knights, and we had a good win, 30 points to 16. I only saw the first half, and we looked the better team. The Knights scored the first try. Moki Adreki out on the wing, our big, tall, lanky fella. Really made the winger out on that side look fairly foolish for that first try. But then Christian Tuipulotu got one back over him with a good try. Haley Finau dived over from dummy half. Dylan Egan scored a try, and we went into the halftime break with a 14 points to 10 lead. I didn't see the second half, but Ryan Couchman got a double, and Ben Murdoch-Masilla also got across the line as we won 30 points to 16. So some good signs. I'm hoping to get the chance to watch that second half in the not too distant future. Moving on to some other grades, the Jersey Flegg, after a big win in our first game against the Melbourne Storm, we got beaten 28 points to 4 by the Knights. So that one not quite as good. And in terms of the junior representative round, it was actually the Dragons up against the Steelers this week. So it was St George versus Illawarra in every grade. In the under-19s men's competition, it was the St George Dragons beating the Illawarra Steelers by 18 points to 4. So the St George Dragons having a fantastic year. Again, I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but Zach Nakar got a couple of tries. Dave Arfu and Lyric Craft, Tim Moanui grabbed a try for the Dragons. Toby Rumble, the only try for the Steelers in that 18-4 scoreline. In the women's competition, it was a bit of a different story. the Illawarra Steelers dominated both the women's games. The Tarsha Cup was 62 points to nil, and the Lisa Fiola Cup was 60-0 in favour of the Dragon. Again, some big scorelines there, but the St George Dragons in the women's pathways competition, for whatever reason, for better or worse, they have decided that they are only going to focus on local players. They only want local players from the St George region in that team. They're not going to recruit from outside the area. This is an elite level competition. This is the best under 19s, under 17s women's competition in the freaking world. If you're going to confine yourself to your own area, then you're going to get flogged every week. So I think, I think it's not the best way to go for the St George District Rugby League in the women's competition. I think they need to look at recruiting from outside the area, and I think that while a few local players will miss out as a result of recruiting from outside the area, if you're playing with half a dozen really good players, it will make your local players better. And we've seen that with the St George Dragons FG ball team. Like the St George Dragons are now sitting in third in the under-19s men's competition, and that means that a guy like Shadi Hamoud, who is a very, very good 5'8", he's a very good half in the Dragon system. He's a local St George junior. He's come up through the ranks. He's a very, very good player. But this season, he's been made to look even better because he's playing behind a quality forward pack. That quality forward pack has all been recruited from outside the St George region. They've been gathered from all over the place to come in to play in Sydney, to play for the St George Dragons. And I think that has made him look better, and it's given him a greater opportunity now to move on and play Jersey Flag, to move up through the ranks and potentially play NRL for the Dragons. So I think it is a huge benefit in actually recruiting and looking outside your region, because it makes your local players better. And the other great Harold Matthews Cup was a bit of a surprise result. They're both teams pretty low on the ladder. It's been a terrible season for both teams. The Illawarra Steelers just one win for the season. The Dragons with just two wins for the season coming into this game. But it was the Illawarra Steelers, 28 points to 4. They absolutely dominated. Jack Talbot, in particular, was a superstar. Zane Timmins, the nephew of Sean Timmins, was very good as well. So a couple of good performances. I thought Bo Baldock in the halves was also really good. He got across for a try. And I thought there was another one of their forwards that I liked the look of. This was a game that I watched the whole game. Akapani Karakiana, the front rower for the Illawarra Steelers, I thought he had a really good game as well. So that is that. So that's the Dragons' lower grades. News and rumours. I don't know. That's a normal segment. I don't know whether there's too much news and rumours, but we want to get straight over that into some forced and unforced changes. Jesse, I'll go to you. Shane Flanagan has talked about a number of changes coming for the Dragons. Looking at the squad, looking at the players that we've got available. What are these changes? What are these mass changes that we should expect to see this weekend for the Dragons?
I really don't know where he's going to make changes, to be honest. He didn't really make it clear where he's going to make changes, but he's just said that was very disappointing, that display tonight, and it's not worthy of the Red V. He absolutely sprayed him. I mean, we haven't had a coach spray our team for a long, long time, and I think that's what's warranted. But if they can get players to just rip in and play their hearts out for the jersey and just come up with a different attitude next week, we saw that you can change your form within a week. It can happen. We've got 5 days to prepare for this game, so it's not a lot of time. But Flano they'll be quick to fly into Wollongong tomorrow and plan for the game against the Cowboys. I don't really know what Flano's idea of changes are, but for me, I'd look at possibly shifting Lomax back to centre. I don't really know who to bring in on the wing, to be honest. I haven't really given it too much thought. Harmay I still...
Well, John Muller makes John Muller makes exactly that point, Jesse. He said Hook used to say he'll make mass changes and drop a winger, and that's exactly what you're suggesting.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. But I really don't know what Flano's going to do, because to me, we don't. You couldn't really tell if Griffin was serious or not because of the Tony's voice. He always had the same tone of voice. But Flano, he was really angry, and he could really tell the tone of voice. He was very angry. He was very disappointed in the team tonight, and he's the sort of coach that will make changes. I've seen him do it.
Matt Hasler thinks Shane Flanagan's full of shit.
Who is this Matt Hasler?
I don't know. Never heard of him.
What I'm saying is because Wazim Hussein has said he has to drop Jack Bird. He was horrible, and I said he should, but he won't. That's in reference to Jack Bird.
Oh, so it's not in reference to Flano making changes.
No, it's in reference to Flano making changes regarding Jack Bird. He will never drop Jack Bird.
Well, Hook was the same with Mbai, wasn't he? Mbai and his ex-Bronco
Corey
players.
Norman.
Yeah.
Well, Mary was like that with Corey Norman. I think Hook was more like that with Moses Mbai, and Shane Flanagan seems to have Jack Bird.
Yeah.
So every coach, and again, I always find this funny. Coach shouldn't be just picking his every coach just picks his favourites.
No.
Every single coach has guys that he thinks are going to do the job. He picks the guys that he thinks are going to do the job. They're his favourites.
You don't pick it on favourites.
Some coaches are right and some coaches are wrong. I think that's the difference. And I guess this is the big one. What about Luciano Leilua? I mean, everyone can see he's not fit. Does he get dropped to reserve? Does he get dropped to reserve grade?
Was this guy watching the same game we were? He was not good at all.
He only had one offload, made about 69 metres or something. That's about it.
And what's the update?
Do you think Leilua stays in the team though? Do you think Leilua stays in the team, or do you think Shane Flanagan makes the call and drops him back to reserve grade?
Well, someone has to be dropped because we've got James.
I think you'll keep him in the odds on to keep him.
Yeah, it's been week after week.
He didn't play many minutes, even though he looks unfit. He'll keep him in the team. So
right, so he's going to make these. He's going to make these big changes. Shane Flanagan's come out in the press conference and said that performance wasn't good enough, doesn't measure up. I'm going to make mass changes. And we're saying, well, he's not going to drop Jack Bird. Okay, we'll move on from there.
Drop his son.
He's not going to drop he's not going to drop his son. He's not going to drop Ben Hunt. Frankie Molo, I thought was all right. He's not going to drop Jacob Little. Tom Ivanhoe did a pretty good job. Jaden Seward, Jack DeBellin. Who's he going to drop?
Well,
Tell me who in his team he's going to get rid of. Tell me one player he gets rid of.
Jesse, did you watch the press conference? What were his exact words about play changes?
He said that he told his team, the boys, that performance was not good enough for the Red V. I'm threatening mass changes.
Threatening mass changes.
And he says, I'm not promising that it'll be better in the week, but a lot can happen in a week of rugby league, and you just watch it in full for yourself, see what he says, but be interesting to see what he does on Tuesday. I think Frankie Molo will be having a stint on the sideline as well.
Yeah, if your man Jerome Luai can get charged twice and only get a
Dragons,
fine, surely Frankie Molo gets away, mate. He's
it's the Dragons. They shit on the Dragons. He'll get 2 or 3 weeks for sure.
2 or 3.
That's what I think he'll get. He has a record.
Well, James Gray, I think James Gray raises another fantastic point. I'm screaming at the screen going, who gets dropped? But the other question is, who the hell do we bring in? We bring Ben Murdoch-Masila back? Do we bring Viliami Fafita? I know a lot of people are excited by Viliami Fafita, but his work rate's not the greatest. The Couchman brothers, Ryan Couchman scored a double in reserve grade. Is that enough to see him come back into the squad somewhere? Is anybody excited by what we have to come in?
Not really.
No, we haven't got much depth there. No.
There's no one knocking on the door.
The Couchman boys in the forwards. I seen Tuatavaki didn't do much.
What about Dan Russell?
Yeah, again, he's a fringe first grader. He did the job last year, but I don't know who you bring in, who you drop. Like you got Eisenhuth, Raymond Fatola Mariner,
Ben Murdoch-Masilla.
No, but they've done their job.
He did his job last week.
Fatola Mariner wasn't as good as this week as he was last week.
No.
I thought Raymond Fatola Mariner was awful, actually. That was terrible.
This week?
Yeah.
He averaged 7 meters.
Last week was my man of the match. This week I thought he was very average.
I said he wasn't as good as he was
hardly
last
saw
week.
him. No forward played
well. They contained him well. Again, we need to recruit some big boppers. And before, Mad Lad came up and said, who are we replacing Paul Turner with? Who are we going to look at to replace him? Because Paul Turner's gone off to the UK.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Anybody got any suggestions there? I might go to you, Jesse. You might have some sort of idea.
I haven't really seen it. I haven't really seen who we're looking at. There's no. It's gone cold ever since we've released him. There's no been mention of who Flana's going to go after, whether we're going to upgrade a player or go to market to get a player. Is there really much available on the market to bring in at this late? We've already into round 2. We're into round 3 next week. Are there players available to bring now?
Yeah,
what do we look
for
at?
me, for me, I sort of look at we'd spent our salary cap. Like we had some money to spend this year. We spent it on Luciano Leilua. Like that didn't take us up to 95%. That took us up to 100%. Like we had spent our salary cap. We didn't have anything left, and we've released a minimum wage player in Paul Turner. So we have minimum wage to offer a player. Any player that's currently on contract, forget about it. No one that's currently on contract are we going to be able to entice. So we have two options. One is we upgrade a player that's currently in the contract. Given that Connor Mullison is in our best 17, adding him to the top 30 seems only fair that we give him a fair wage, given he is expected to play in our top grade side week in, week out. That to me seems fair. Like Connor Mullison is at the moment living at below the minimum NRL wage on a development contract, but in our best 17 week in, week out. He's not in our top 30, but he's in our best 17. Ridiculous. Absolute insanity. So in the interest of fairness, I think Connor Mollison should be given Paul Turner's spot. That, to me, makes sense. The other option is we look outside the club, and you look at players that are on New South Wales Rugby League contracts. They're only reserve grade contracts. They're not NRL contracted. These are the kinds of players that we can attract. Yeah, you're looking at guys like a Khaled Rajab at the Bulldogs, who he's played. I think he's played 4 NRL games. He's a similar sort of player to Paul Turner in that he's not very good, but he can cover in the halves. He can cover at fullback. He can cover in the centres. That's the kind of player that I think we can be looking at. Maybe a guy like a George Jennings, who's 30-odd, a Chris Smith, who's played a fair bit of NRL, again 30-odd, but doesn't currently have an NRL contract. These are the kinds of players that I think we can realistically get. I think people talking about a Jay Field or a Bevan French are kidding yourselves. We're not getting anybody of that quality. Anybody that's going to replace Paul Turner is going to be similar to Paul Turner. What was that, Jeff?
I said that the money they're on in England, they won't come here for a stopgap NRL deal. it's going to be for the rest of the year anyway.
Yeah, well, exactly right. So,
How do we look to the future? How do we attract? Why did Fanua Blake go to Cronulla? Why did Adam Fanua want to come home? He's an ex-Dragons, junior. Why?
Because he was at the Dragons before, we sacked him, and he wanted to make us look bad. He wanted us to beg, and then he wanted to say no. Like, that's what he wanted to make himself feel better. We sacked him when he was like 18 or 19 years of age. He was never coming to the Dragons. It didn't matter what we did. He wasn't coming because we sacked him, and he wanted to make us feel like he was a possibility of coming here, and then he wanted the chance to break our hearts. He wasn't coming to the Dragons.
How do we attract a player of that caliber? Big T just said a big bop.
Results.
How do we attract
results?
A player? No.
On-field results.
How do we?
Well, you can't get results without the players. So, I mean, you need to get the players first to get results.
If we show something with our current team, I think that's what will attract players. What brand of football we'll play, and we start getting results and show we're progressing up the ladder.
But that one play can have a massive impact on the forwards, on the pack. You know what I mean? So how do we get that one player to come to our club? We have to overpay him, don't we, to get him to come?
Well, that's the situation we're in because we're down the cellar.
But why do we give Leluur?
If you want my,
we could have given.
If you want my opinion, else. We don't. We don't even try. Forget the marquee player. There's been one club in the last 50 years that has won a premiership by buying marquee players. It doesn't happen. Yeah. You don't win a premiership by going out and buying players and bringing them into your club. That's not how you win a premiership. You build a premiership from inside. You build a premiership by getting young players to your club and getting them and developing them. It is not a fucking quick fix that we can get overnight. This is going to be a 10-year. We need to forget about buying players.
I also
and
look at the
settle in
one or two key players.
10 years time. We need a plan. We need a long-term plan, a 10-year plan. Like
we're trying to quick fix.
We need to build a premiership around young players, not buying a guy that is looking for $2 million a year.
Answer this for me, and I swear blind, if anybody thinks I'm a fruitcake for saying this, I'm sorry, but I don't like our admin. Why don't we have a Shane Richardson at our club? Why don't we have a guy like that? Successful.
A fruitcake. A fruitcake. You couldn't be more.
Hang on, that's not in the salary cap.
Hang on, let's take a show of hands. Hang on, we'll put everybody on the screen at the same size. Everybody, put your hands up if you like our administration. Put your hand up if you like the Dragons admin.
I'm talking about helping us.
Look at that. It's absolutely unanimous, Rob. Like, you're not alone. You're not the only person that thinks our admin is fucking shit, mate. Everyone thinks our admin is shit.
But that's where we've got to start. We need some of that caliber in our club to help us, to help the coach.
Who do we get?
About rebuilding like a business plan, 5 years, 10 years. I agree with you. That's where you got to start, mate. The front office.
Look at Penrith. Penrith didn't buy players. They developed from within, and they're the best club in the competition right now.
Yeah, but they had
the best club for the last 5 years.
They had Gus Gould there too, didn't they? Overseeing
we had the chance to offer him a job. We didn't.
Who we got? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we need someone of that caliber to help us do what Donny's saying. Because
Big T, I saw you throwing your hand up there, mate. I know it's hard to get a word in here sometimes, but go for it.
It is. Yeah. I was just about to say I've got to chop off, so I'm going to say see you later, goodbye, au revoir, adios amigos. See you on Tuesday night, and stop talking about this bullshit.
I think there's a lot more bullshit to be spoken about, but I'm going to see you later, Big T. It's been a pleasure having you as always. And
everybody.
Hopefully Tuesday's a better show leading into the cows.
Yeah, I've got to thank the viewers for all their questions too. So good on you guys. See you next week.
See you, mate.
Right, you're running the show now, Rob.
No,
No. It's just you came. You
agree
came
with
up as
you,
the main man.
I'm just trying to forward think that, we're going to need to change something, make a big change like that. You know what I
James
mean?
Savage says, I need some chuff after tonight as well. And I think we all do. I think we can we can relate to that. But he also says he wouldn't want Gus at the club. So I think there's a few people that don't really like Gus. I guess the question is, Rob, who's available? Like Shane Richardson, he's gone to the West Tigers. How good are they going?
I don't know who's available, mate, but I'm just saying we need somebody that's going to help us to, like the plan you're talking about, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But we need somebody of that ilk, a football brain. I'm sure there's plenty there, but there might be any available right at the moment. But I don't know. It just appears.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But there's not too many I can think of that actually exist that I would know if they came. There's probably a great administrator out there I've never heard of. There's probably dozens of great administrators out there that I've never heard of, and they could come in and do a job for us. But I think I'm wary of saying this because it's been our methodology with coaches for the last decade, and it hasn't helped us. But anybody but Harron, like Ben Harron, has been a fucking canter at this club for long enough. Surely,
15 years.
Surely we can move on from Ben Harron and get anybody to replace him. Hasman, come and replace Ben Harron. I'm sure you do a better job.
Hasman loves Ben Harron.
He likes all the Bens.
As he said last year, all the Bens.
No, look, I agree with you, Don. He's been an absolute unmitigated disaster from the moment he set foot in the joint, and so we need to get a couple of really big guys to go in there and drag him out of there. It's the only way we're going to get rid of him.
Well, Matt Cooper's not an administrator, but he'd be good for a defensive coach.
You're better administrator than fucking Ben Harron.
Isn't the guy
Peter Dowster's still on the board too? Tasman.
Well, you talk about names. I don't know much about him. I don't follow.
Rob?
I don't follow the other code. But James Savage has said John O'Neill had the Wallabies #1 in the world. I don't know much about him. Is that a name that any of you guys have heard of?
From rugby. You think John O'Neill? Yeah.
I don't know him though.
Well, Rob, you've heard of him. I mean, would he be a guy that if his name came up, would you be happy about that?
Yeah, possibly, mate. I mean, you've seen people come in from rugby admin backgrounds before and been unsuccessful as well too. So it's a bit like change of code with players. But I don't know. Ben Harron, right?
He's a football manager.
Is that recruiting?
He's a football manager.
Football manager.
He's the general manager.
So is that
general manager is his title?
Is that like Gus Schools a bit higher up, like with recruiting and everything as well too, or is that sort of what Gus School does? Or
I think he's the GM of football, Gus.
Yeah, he's the GM of football. So he's the general manager of everything related to the football department.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a feeling I got that I don't know. I just feel like Flano needs that support again, and I believe Shane Richardson. I mean, Jesse, do you know, was Shane Richardson at the Sharks with Flano at Cronulla? I think he was, wasn't he? At the time, I'm pretty sure he was.
No, it was. I think his name was.
I'm sure he's at the Sharks.
What's his name? He used to be I think his name was Noyce. He used to be CEO at the Roosters when Flano was a CEO. When Flano was coaching Cronulla, I think his name was Steve Noyce. On top of my head, he used to be at the Roosters. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I thought that he did work with Flano as well too, but yeah. So
our recruitment manager Shane Millard, but I saw some comments there. So he's our recruitment manager.
I mean, when Gus did his thing that he did for Mary or whatever, or for the club, did he?
He did a review. He did a review at the end of 2019.
Did he say we need to clean out? Is that what he said?
He said sacking the coach won't.
He said there's. Yeah, he said there's more problems with the Dragons than just the coach.
Okay, so front office and all that as well too. So yeah.
He doesn't get why we're down the bottom. He doesn't understand it. He said we're a better side than being down the bottom. There's a lot of good experienced players at the Dragons. He says.
Yeah. Anyway, we might wrap it up there, boys. We could talk all night about the Dragons' woes, and after a loss, we seem to have more tune in for after a loss than after a win, which I don't know how much that says about Dragons fans. But once again, I would like to give a big thank you to Complete Warehouse Solutions, our major sponsor. Massive thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. I know it's been a tough day. Going down 38-0 is not the best. It's not ideal. It's not what we want, but that's the way it's turned out, and hopefully we can turn it around at home next week against the North Queensland Cowboys. The first game at home. I think it'll be a big show on Tuesday to preview that one. And hopefully between now and then you can start to fire up. So come on, Dragons fans. Fire up.
Fire up.
Wears it on her sleeve as Mustard tells tales of Dragons wins and tuna victory. Tony and the MP crew will do their very best. Getting up top again on our breast with a red V on our chest. The Mad Dragons Vodcast is a sheep of camaraderie, navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of big wet feet. And so our peddlers weave the tales, and our friendship is our dream. The Mad Dragon Vodcast, funded by our